We have Ivana, and now today she is going to talk about offshore company formation.
Today actually I'll cover a very special topic. In fact, most of the public are not aware, Malaysian SME are not aware that they can use this offshore company to their benefits. But for my website and our company, we do a lot of this type of offshore company formation. So I decided to share on this topic. I will start with some illustration or some example on how people use the offshore to their benefits. Okay, traditional way. Okay, an individual owner owns a property under his personal name. So if he dies, then he need to go through a probate process. When he sells, there are transfer costs and the buyer is subject to stamp duty and maybe capital gains tax. This is the traditional way. So some people use the offshore company to hold the property. Number one benefit is, of course, there is privacy. Okay, and he can sell the property by just transferring the share of the offshore company. So no registration required and no stamp duty. So it saves a lot of money. Okay, this is how people generally use the offshore company. Next is people like to use offshore company is I give you an example. Let's say you set up a Malaysian company to enter into a joint venture or a contract. But if the joint venture or contract didn't go through, then there is a process of striking off the Malaysian company. Not only the process is costly, but also time consuming. So if you are company secretary, you know about this process of striking off the Malaysian company. Okay, but if you set up an offshore company to enter into a joint venture, if the joint venture didn't go through, what the business owner need to do is just don't pay for the next year annual fee, and the company will be struck off from the registrar by default. So if you see, there is the simple process is just not to pay money. Okay, so it's very simple and there's no cost as compared to if you set up a Malaysian company for joint venture. Okay, this is how people would also like to use offshore because it's very simple.
I'll read out the question here. I see there is suggestion to transfer property owned by individual to offshore company. When disposed, it can transfer without tax and stamp duty. But how to do this? Is it one property per one offshore company?
Okay. When you purchase the real estate in a company, one option when you want to sell it or when you want to transfer it, let's say to a family relative, is simply to then transfer the shares of that offshore company to that relative or to the buyer. Of course, the buyer will want to ensure that the company has a clean record. But certainly, let's say a father buys, let's say, a London property using a BVI company, and his daughter, who is studying in the UK, is still quite young, 16 years old. So obviously she can't own the property in her own name now, or even own shares of the company. But when she turns to the age of majority and the father is getting on in years, he could simply then decide that as a gift to the daughter, he is going to transfer the shares of the company to the daughter. When he does that, the daughter then becomes the owner of the company, which in turn is the owner of the London property. And when it comes to the transfer of shares, there isn't a stamp duty on the transfer of BVI company shares from one shareholder to the new shareholder. So that's one of the advantages of buying real estate using an offshore company.
So there's a tax saving when it comes to like transferring the estate.
That's correct.
Or
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.